Hello there, everyone. This is Ariel with Dragontail Tarot, and for all of my viewers, followers, and subscribers, I'm sure you're quite aware that I have been away for a little while, and it is because something really huge happened in my life that was very, very, very difficult. At first, things are getting a lot better right now, but for everyone, I just want to tell you the story of what happened and how much it means and why it's such a big deal. This is definitely for anybody who is an animal lover or has ever had a beloved pet or animal in their life is definitely going to appreciate this. So 13 years ago, I brought two rabbits into my life, one named Bunson and one named Petey. And I had no idea they were going to live as long as they did. Most people said rabbits don't really live that long. And so, but they did. They've lived a very, very long time. And I will show you my picture of my beautiful, sweet Bunson. She was quite the little diva bunny. I got some prints made of her. And there she is. She was a lady. She was a female Dutch, and she had a solid black face. Most bunnies, Dutch bunnies, have a white blaze on their face, but she had the solid black face. And she was absolutely one of the most adorable, cutest, sweetest rabbits I've ever seen. She was a Pisces bunny, as far as I could kind of guess. Her birthday, I didn't know the exact birthday, but I guessed that she was a Pisces, and she certainly connected with me like one. And so it was my birthday on January 19th. It's going to be a little hard for me not to cry just thinking about it. And I went out of town with my best friend Natrina because we wanted to have an awesome time for my birthday, and so we did that, and it was wonderful. And as I was coming back on the plane early morning on the 20th, the day after my birthday, I was getting these messages: call your mom, something really, big deal is going on, 911. And I was like, oh man, what's going on? And I know that I've probably mentioned to you guys a few times when I was late getting my readings up that she had been having trouble with her arthritis because she was 13 years old, and rabbits don't usually live quite that long, especially not Dutch bunnies. Actually, I was pretty shocked when I looked up the average lifespan of a Dutch rabbit is usually between 6 years to 10 years. So she was definitely pushing it quite a lot. And so I just had this feeling, I was like, something's going on with Bunson. Something's happening with her. And I didn't know, like worst case scenario, I'm thinking either she died or she is, having even more trouble standing up and getting around because of the arthritis. She wasn't sick. She wasn't ailing with anything. I had taken her to the vet. I took her every year. They always look her over. And, I remember my vet for several years in a row just being shocked by her age and saying, you know what, you never know how long they're going to make it. And, just be prepared for anything because you just don't know when they get this old. And so, oh, that wind is blowing, isn't it? Wow. So, guys, she passed away the day after my birthday on January 20th, early in the morning. And I got back home like just maybe an hour or two after she passed. And oh, I was a wreck. She was my baby. This rabbit, she had an old soul, and I used to always say that she was my soul bunny. I used to always tell her that, whenever she passed over, I said, you gotta help me find a new rabbit. You gotta lead me to the right one, or you gotta come back in my life, sweetie, because I love you so much. And she loved me. I've honestly never had a little animal love me that much and have it like reciprocated. It was just the most beautiful thing, holding her and looking in her eyes and just feeling the depth of her love and her soul. I've never experienced anything like that. And I've had a lot of animals. I've had birds, I've had dogs, I've had all kinds of animals, and I've never connected with any of them like that bunny. um, so guys, if you have an animal that you love in your life, boy, give them so much love. Every day is worth it. It's so important to have these little guys in our life. Sorry. Yeah. But it does get better, I promise. It does get better. The story gets better. So, but for a couple days there, I really just couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I was just crying, and just awful, like just the worst, saddest feeling. Because I also have another bunny who's still alive named Petey. And Petey, on the opposite of Bunson, who was very glamorous, he looks like a little cottontail. He's a Netherland dwarf mix, and he has a little cottontail, and he has brown fur, just like a little bunny you would see outdoors, and he's very cute and sweet, and he loved Bunson, of course. They really lived their whole life together because they got them at the same time, and he's still alive. He's still hopping, guys. He seems to be in very good health, except for his eyes. He's gotten older. He's gotten a little bit of that cataract, on his eyes. But other than that, he's doing really good. So after, 3 or 4 days of just nonstop crying and falling apart, I called, actually, and I really also want to promote this lady now and also in the future. Her name is Cheryl Rose Fennerin, and she is an amazing medium. She's a fantastically gifted psychic that I've been really blessed to meet, actually, through the YouTube channel and my community. She was one of the first people, to reach out to me, and the first person from YouTube that I did a reading for over the phone, and she has also read for me, and she is incredible. So I called her up, I told her what had happened. She was extremely compassionate and empathic about it. She has animals, she loves animals too, and she's very in tune, and so we were able to get in touch with Bunson's spirit, and the messages that came through were amazing and really sweet and funny and very, very much in line with the way my bunny would have communicated with me. But it was really good to know that she was not sick. She wasn't ailing. She wasn't suffering. She was just old. She literally just passed very quickly from old age. Her body just wore out. It gave out. And she didn't want me to be there when it happened. That's why she picked, I don't go out of town that much. And so just that few days. And I was really hurting because I thought, oh, when she passes, I always wanted to be there, with her, holding her, to be there for her. And I was just really kind of beating myself up, like, oh, I wasn't there for her, I let her down. But it turns out that she really wanted her privacy. She wanted to do it on her own because the love that we shared was just so intense that it was actually harder for her to pass if I was there kind of calling her back in a way. And also she knew that it would be really traumatic for me to see her pass, which in retrospect it would have been. It would have been really hard for me to watch her die. So, she knew what she was doing, and it really gave me a great sense of peace to know that she really was okay and she did it the way she wanted to. I was so relieved that I didn't have to have her, if she had been sick, take her to a vet, have her put down, things like that. That's the worst. That's the worst. I didn't want to have to do that for her. I've had to do that with pets before, and that's so tough. And also knowing that she didn't die because she was sick. She died just because she really just couldn't go anymore. She was very old, and she loved every day of her life. She loved her life. She had an awesome life. Because, I don't have human kids, so my fur kids are my babies. And so they get really good care, really good love, lots of salads for those bunnies. And so what I want to tell you all is that me and my friend Atrina and Cheryl, we were all like, okay, we've got to go on the search for some new bunnies because, you know, Petey's really lonely without having bunnies around because he's not used to being alone. I'm not used to being without, you know, this beautiful black and white Dutch bunny in my life that I love so much. And so we started just scouring all over the place, and I finally found this young lady out in the country in a town in Georgia called Warrenton, which I thought was very funny, very appropriate because bunnies live in warrens. And so this was Warrenton. I was like, oh, okay. And so I went there, we talked to her. She, was very, very, you know, good and, responsible, compassionate, bunny breeder who she shows her rabbits, and the ones that she doesn't show, that aren't show quality, she, finds homes for them. So we went out there and looked at 4 different rabbits, and guys, I don't know if bunny reincarnation can happen, but I found a beautiful little mismarked Dutch doe. The does are the females. And she comes right up to me. She starts licking my hand. None of the other bunnies do that. And she just, like, immediately, like, magnetic to me. And now I'm just like, more and more I'm holding her, getting to know her. Yes, I brought her home. I feel like there's so many things that she does that are so specific to the things that Bunson did. And I don't know if it's just wishful thinking or she truly has, like, her spirit has quickly come back in and become part of this new little bunny. But it is amazing. I'm just sort of like overwhelmed with it, and it's just a beautiful feeling because, whether or not my spiritual intuitions are right about that or not, it's like, it's so heart healing. Petey's going through a real transition of sorts. It's hard for him. Like, I really expected him to be more excited about new rabbit being in the house, but he's really kind of having a little bit of a hard time. It's like he's not upset about it necessarily, but he's just, he's like a little old bunny man. And, a 13-year-old bunny is like a 90-something-year-old human, so he's still, it's like he's grieving. He's still getting through Bunson. It's harder for him, of course, to understand that same way that we can understand that whole, thing about transition, but I think he can feel things, and so I've been holding him a lot, making sure to give him a lot of love and talk to him through it. But guys, that's what happened to me. We've talked about how, this has been a very intense, heavy transitional time with all the Capricorn planets, and I am a Capricorn, as you may know. And so all of that stuff's been hitting that 12th house for me. I'm an Aquarius rising, so all my Capricorn stuff is in my 12th house transits. And, those are very spiritual ones. And so now it's like, yeah, the literal death has happened. The spiritual, maybe reincarnation has happened too, and it's pretty wild to experience. It's kind of beautiful, as sad as it was to have her pass out of that body. But it's kind of like the feeling you get is that, eventually the body just wears out and the spirit just can't wear it anymore. So it takes it off and goes elsewhere, and the love never ends, y'all. The love never ends. And like I said, if you have bunnies, if you have pets, if you have animals, you have people, anything in your life that you love, it's just, that's why I can say, I don't have any regrets about Bunson at all. Like, somebody said, oh, it's bittersweet. I said, no, it's just sweet. It's just sweet. There's nothing bitter about it at all because I just feel like I did it right. Me and her, it was just amazing. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And we loved each other and we snuggled each other, and it's like every moment that we had to spend together, we spent it together, and it was exactly the way I wanted it to be, and that was a message that came through, you know, when I talked to Cheryl, is that Bunson even said, you know, that I was just, you know, this greatest bunny mom, and I did so much for her, and I probably did a little too much for her, she said. So, but yeah, that's my story about what has been happening. I know that I've missed a couple things I really wanted to do, and I may do those readings as we go forward. I really wanted to do one for the Chinese New Year. That was on January 25th. We moved into the year of the rat. Boy, the year of the pig went out on a bang for me, with my rabbit transitioning. Was wow, just whew, you know, intense, right? Because the pig year energy is the same as Scorpio energy in the Western wheel, and it really, really showed up there. You know, and the rat year is the first branch of the Chinese cycle. So this is a fresh new beginning, guys. It's Sagittarian energy, much more upbeat, much more positive, open, expansive. I'm excited about that. And then we just celebrated Imbolc, which is the Celtic, you know, midwinter date. That was on February 2nd, which is also Groundhog Day. That's where that comes from. Imbolc is also considered St. Bridget's Day, Candlemas. It's a really beautiful day. It's one of my favorites, actually, even though it's not like a major solstice or equinox. It's one of those mid-season festivals, and I'm so glad we're there, because that means we're halfway through winter, so we're getting closer to spring, and it's a really nice feeling. You know, even the birds are starting to get a little more active. You can already see it happening. So hopefully, you know, I'll catch up with all the readings for Chinese New Year, because that energy is going to last all through the year. And I'm going to be, you know, I'll do one for all the signs, you know, the rat, the ox, the snake, the dog, all of them. And I'll post, you know, the years and all that, so you'll know which one is your year and all that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in, and for those of you who've listened to all this, I appreciate so much your heart, your energy, and your loyalty to my page. I'm so sorry I have not been here, but it has been for a really big reason, and it was because of the the transition. Look at this as a piece of art. I drew this of her because I always joked about she was Miss Bunson at Tiffany's, like Audrey Hepburn, you know, at Breakfast at Tiffany's, and there she is sitting outside of Tiffany's with her little Chanel bag and her Starbuns cup. The transition really of the glamorous Coco Van Bunson was a major, major shift for me. 13 years with the best bunny anyone could ever imagine, and I pray that, I think she's back again. I think that she is. I think she's come back again, and pretty soon I will be introducing you to the new bunny. New bunnies. I got two along with Petey, and I'll be introducing you to them because they are incredible. I absolutely love rabbits. They're the best pets I've ever had. They're very unique and kind of different. People always ask, are rabbits more like dogs or cats? And I'm like, well, they're like rabbits. They're not meat eaters. They're complete vegetarians. So they don't have a predator mentality, they have a prey mentality. So they're very gentle in that way, and they're very cautious. But once they get used to you, they won't be scared of you at all. Like once they know your voice, once they know your touch, then it's like they'll hop right up to you. They love coming up to you. It's funny how that is. It's a thing to earn the trust of a rabbit. Definitely. They do not automatically trust because they're hardwired to be careful, you know, to stay safe and to be, you know, watchful of everything they do. And I love rabbit lore and legend and mythology. You know, there's a year of the rabbit in the Chinese year. And that rabbit energy is likened to Pisces in the Western wheel. And that's where you get that very sort of sacrificial, giving, gentle, kind of energy that they give off. They're tough, you know, they're tough little creatures, but they're also very gentle at the same time. If any of you've read the book Watership Down, that's one of my favorites. That book that he came up with all the lore and, you know, kind of the mythology for the rabbits, which is very cool. But there is a connection with rabbits and magic. Rabbits, in Druidic Celtic times, it's like they are lagomorphs. They're crepuscular. And so crepuscular creatures are ones that are most active at dawn and dusk. And so those are considered, the time between times that are the most, when the veil is thinnest and it's the most magical time of day. And so, when ancient peoples, indigenous people would obviously see that this, creature was more active at those times, it's like that connection with magic was very strong and shape-shifting. And it's so funny, right? We still, magicians pulling a rabbit out of a hat, right? It's like there's that always that long association with rabbits and magic, and of course fertility, because they they breed in abundant numbers. So it's like, people carrying a rabbit's foot as a talisman. Of course, my rabbits would remind me and you guys that the foot is only lucky if it's still attached to the rabbit. So so, I have a dubious thing about anyone carrying a rabbit's foot as a charm. But yeah, so also, the getting into the Asian cultures, in Japan, in autumn, it's the moon festival, and it's the rabbit and the moon, not the man and the moon. The rabbit is connected with the moon, and there's a legend about, the old sage in the woods who was hungry and cold, and all the animals started coming out of the woods to help him out, and they reach, maybe bringing him wood for the fire, bringing him something to keep him warm, but the rabbit gave the ultimate sacrifice and threw himself on the fire to be a meal for him, and gave him his whole life. And so the sage was so taken with the sacrifice of the rabbit that he granted him the gift of immortality. And so in the moon, they see the rabbit, in the moon stirring or holding that elixir of life of immortality. And it's just, there's so many cool things about bunnies. But yet, again, so thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I wish you many blessings, and let's go ahead and get started with some more readings. I'm going to be doing the full moon readings for you guys. I'm going to start those in just a little bit and try to have those up over this weekend. So take care, y'all. Be well. Bye-bye.